Hello!
We just watched Twinklight.
Yep, we're back 2 days later because we had to all
Regain our sanity.
Masturbate furiously.
after those, many Twilight films.
Oh
And
god.
see, I was all like transferring stuff and rendering stuff and cutting up stuff and being all like, I'm using computer. Well, these two, they were role playing and they were having furious sex, and one of those people is being called Alice now and the other one's being called Edward, and I'm not entirely sure that happened in the book, but okay.
Am I Alice or Edward?
Yes.
Okay.
And of course, their new mating call between them is
Hey, what I scream when I'm orgasming is my business.
It made things a little bit awkward at the Dairy Queen.
But yeah, welcome to the epilogue of the Twilight Marathon. We just watched
Twinklight.
Which I've just retweeted and told a better name for it would be Fleshlight.
no vaginas in it.
They could get sued for that.
I suppose.
It was boring. And not just in your standard, this is a porno, so we are watching things go into other things to get off, and then it's boring. Watching the things go into the other things was boring.
Watching the things going into the other things, it was like getting two Ken dolls and going.
It was very similar, in fact, in interestingness as this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No, that's
By the way, I'm a vampire. Oh no.
I'm going to rub strawberry jam in your chest and lick it off to make it look like I bit you. But
Vampire.
the porn parts were shot incredibly well. Like spotlights, big black studio rooms.
Except for 12 minutes in and 2 sex scenes in, we didn't actually see any dicks. I'm sorry, if we're watching a gay porno, I want to see dicks.
But the porn parts were like professionally shot. The bits at home.
There was no cock for the first big chunk of it.
They were intentionally hiding it. You can't not show that cock.
Yeah,
It's called Twinklight.
He had a cushion in it in front of his groin and everything. It's like,
They shot it from such an angle that you could see the thrusting but no cock.
yeah, and parts it looked like, how Alan Rickman looked like in Dogma when he pulled down his trousers. At some angles it looked like it was Alan Rickman in Dogma fucking a guy, which
But how is he fucking a
Dogma 2, Dogma harder.
It perfectly captured the Twilight films in that it was utterly shitly boring.
Seriously.
I'm not even sure which one who was supposed to be what.
This is the longest porn I've ever sat through without getting an erection.
I was reading. This person was reading. She was reading.
I was reading about trains.
But the trains were interesting.
I was reading about movie sets, for fuck's sake.
What was I reading about?
Oh, you were reading smut.
I was not reading smut.
Michael Sheen's dialogue.
No. Oh yeah, I was reading this whole discussion about hyenas.
Oh. Well, that's how boring it was.
Well, hyenas are awesome.
At one point
Hyenas are the trans men of the natural world.
I went outside the back to get better signal on my
Hyenas are
phone at one
awesome.
point.
Are they not? And seahorses are the trans women of the natural world.
I went outside.
Of the animal kingdom, sorry.
We know. I went outside to get
I think we're
signal
going
on my cell phone at one point, and there were 2 pigeons fucking. And oh my god, it was more interesting than the film, because one pigeon was like, it was like one on top, it was doggy style pigeons, and also the noises pigeons make. It was like, and I was like, God, that was more interesting than this film that I could have paid £30
That's
for.
much more interesting.
Seriously. I fell asleep.
4 or 5 times.
After eating a fuckload of, well, for Americans, pixie sticks inside stuff. For anyone who's not American, sherbet.
Yeah.
You kept throwing them at me.
They're flying saucers, they're supposed to fly.
Not in the dozens.
Apparently there was a Jacob in this, but the only thing I spotted was the guy, the vampire who
Who had a
randomly
fur
wore a fur coat.
It looked like he was wearing a wolf skin.
Did I get a flying saucer down your top? At one point.
That
Possibly.
would be kind of hard
Yeah.
with that shirt.
Possibly.
I was aiming there.
It's
boring!
Seriously?
Sexual assault.
What are we supposed to say?
No jutsu.
This is even more. This is an hour and 50 minutes.
It
like
was?
That. Yeah.
At one point, the audio quality on the expositional dialogue was so low you just couldn't hear them at all.
And we didn't care.
Yeah, and there was like 3 people in the. They kept going to this bar. No, sorry, kept going to this club, and there was always like only 2 people there. And for some reason, the whole thing's set in Arizona, except for these random running around shots where it looks like they went somewhere snowy.
No, I thought they were in Arizona. It's just that they bleached everything, so you can see.
Yeah.
No, there were
Like
bits
there was
that-
just high and wide exposure.
I thought they were somewhere. Sorry, maybe they're up a mountain or something.
I think they're mountains in Arizona.
Those guys are too skinny. Don't get me wrong, I like Twinks, but fuck.
Rib counting.
You could see all of his ribs and his.
His collarbones stick out. Although I don't want to body police.
And this is a problem with a lot of gay porn that I've seen, and I've seen.
You've seen an exceptional amount of gay porn.
For
Gay
someone,
woman.
for someone who doesn't much care for the cock, I have seen a lot of cock. Why did the guys, stop fucking in order to masturbate themselves just so they could ejaculate? Surely, if you're gonna have sex, then you want to keep fucking until you orgasm rather than replace it with masturbation.
Well, that's a porn trope, though. That's the same reason why the money shot got so popular.
It's so fucking stupid.
No, but because of the fact that it gives visual evidence of an orgasm.
It's fucking stupid.
Real actors don't need to come to show that they've had an orgasm.
Yes, but this isn't real actors. This is, once again, things going into
Oh,
other
and
things.
the voiceover. It's like, I am not reading off the script into a microphone right now. Totally not doing that. And
You're not. You're impersonating someone. There's a difference.
You are pedantic.
I'm tired as well.
Yeah,
This is.
you should have
shit.
had a nap, too.
Yeah, I every single night I'm up till like 5 o'clock, and then I'm up at like 10.
Yeah. I don't think I slept last night.
I don't think you slept much.
That's because
You slept like the dead.
I continuously slept with the dead.
Yes.
So yeah, Twinklight.
Hyenas are more interesting.
Hyenas are much more interesting.
Film sets are more interesting.
Well, film sets are really interesting, and so are subways. Like, there was a guy who got fined like 500 pounds for doing something unorthodox with a cat and like 10 tons of butter.
Yeah, they don't. It's a story in the book about the underground. That this guy was looking for stories about love on the underground,
And somehow that turned into somebody buggering a cat.
and he found. Oh, the only thing he found was this story from 1989 where this guy had got really drunk and done something unorthodox with a cat, and then passed out and was fined £500.
And then they asked him about it, and he said, "What cat?"
Yeah, I don't know anything about a cat. There was another story about this guy told him how there was a drunk guy on the tube, and he yelled at everyone, and then he pissed on one of the seats, and then they pulled this thing to get the police down, and they basically drive the drunk guy away. And then the next stop, another drunk guy got on, and they closed off the thing where the guy had pissed, so that no one could get in there and accidentally sit on the piss. Then the next stop, another drunk guy came in and did the exact same thing, but then the guy, before they could get to the next stop to call the police, he managed to get in through the doors into the next cabin, next train sort of thing, and then and according to the guy, and this is a rough estimation of what was said, I had such a tremendous sense of joy whenever I saw that he sat himself down with a squelch on the exact place where his compatriot had somethinged himself.
Soiled?
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, that was what I was reading because Twinklight was fucking boring. And I saw the gender filature, which, far from perfect and had 20-minute sex scenes, was at least trying something.
And had a plot.
And
Yeah.
at least had gender fuckery. I mean, you can't go wrong with good gender fuckery.
True.
Or even bad gender fuckery.
Did you know, guys, that the clock tower in Back to the Future? It's an actual square that's been built specifically for filming,
Cool.
and it's in like 100 different films. Like they used it in Gremlins and everything.
Can believe that.
Did you know that in hyena culture, even the youngest cubs, the female cubs, are higher than the highest male? Also, they start fighting from day one. They're like really hierarchical.
Yeah, hyenas are fascinating. Anyway, don't watch Twinklight. Don't watch anything that starts with T and has a light in the name. That includes Twilight Sparkle. I'm sorry, just the word Twilight has just damaged
How can
everything.
you not love Twilight Sparkle? Her adorable little nerdiness.
I'm considering watching Equestria Girl.
I'm not a brony.
I've
No,
seen
really, I'm not.
I've seen the first season of that show. It's well written. I have not watched anything beyond that.
I like it.
Equestria Girls is...
I have, however, seen the pilot to She's Owl.
That looks interesting.
Yeah.
Again, gender fuckery. Can't go wrong.
But no, I think they got they got the tone of the movie exactly right.
Dead boring?
Yeah, just like Twilight.
They didn't even have Charlie turn up.
Yeah, Charlie. No, he was just off in love with Daddy. You don't need to make him gay. He already is.
Yeah, I'm just saying, they have the one guy who's obviously gay in Twilight, and they don't have him even turn up at...
They couldn't keep track of the main character's name. Sometimes it was Billy, sometimes it was Billa.
And there's just... They all look the fucking same. More white people who look
More
the same.
skinny white dudes.
White people! Look different!
Have some features, have some pimples, have some birthmarks, have some scars, have some interesting tattoos.
Have some cocks that aren't circumcised, long, and absolutely not veiny.
Well, no, it's hard not to get a circumcised dick in the U.S.
Well, that's an argument for another time.
That's
Well, no, I'm not talking
America
about...
being uncivilized.
I'm talking about, at present, the same way how it's hard to... I don't know. What's another example?
On female genital mutilated woman in
It's hard to get
Sub-Saharan
it-
Africa.
No, something... It is hard for me to get a job with this haircut. Because of the fact...
That's more of America being uncivilized.
It's more of the fact that there are assumptions on what's normal, and if you do not fit what's normal...
Yeah, it's culture. It's a cultural thing, just
Yeah.
like a lot of other cultural things.
So I will probably not get a job at Macy's with this haircut. Lol, in probably 6 months, I'm going to look back at this video and go, ha, I have a job at Macy's, because the universe likes to laugh at me like that.
Well, now that you've said it, it won't.
Well,
But then because I said it, they'll expect it not to happen, and therefore because I expect it not to happen, it'll actually happen.
but yeah, I agree with you on the circumcision thing simply because there's no full-on scientific evidence that it does anything good for them, and it means that the poor men who are circumcised, their sex isn't as good for themselves. Plus, you're mutilating a child without their consent for no scientifically determined real reason.
Let's have this argument someplace else.
No, it's a fascinating. It's more
No,
interesting than Twilight.
Yes, but the problem is we are going to have commenters descend upon us like a pack of ravaging
I would just like to
hyenas.
I don't give a
clarify,
shit.
I am not against circumcision for religious reasons, but the idea of it looks slightly
I think
better.
it's stupid.
I won't fuck an uncircumcised guy. That's like me saying I won't fuck somebody unless they drill a hole through their temple.
No, it's
It can be done
Yes,
safely.
as long as the person is an adult and they're consenting, then they can do what they like. I just see circumcision as completely pointless. People are allowed to do pointless things.
Yeah. So,
Don't do it to a
no,
child.
mine
without
was more a
consent.
comment of every guy in this had the same uncircumcised dick. There were slight variations in size, but nobody
Yeah.
was veiny. Nobody had a slightly different
They
miscolored
were
penis.
all long and skinny and pink.
There was
Long
one-
and thin goes too far in. Short and thick does the trick.
There was this one guy whose balls were so the scrotum was so long it looked like a second cock.
Did I look at you and say, does he have two penises?
Yes, you did. And you were right. It looked like he had one cock going up the guy and then another one going down
I've been in
straight.
the Homestuck fandom way too long because I just figured he just had two penises.
You know, that wouldn't be too abnormal.
He's
in
not a
films or movies.
monotreme.
Eh,
Or was it an echidna?
Do Time Lords have two penises?
No.
Do Time Lords have penises?
Depends on what your canon of Doctor Who is. In my canon, I would say that they do, but they cannot get erections.
I like that kind.
Yeah, the Time Lords are all asexual and unable to have sex.
the Time Lords with Gallifreyans.
Gallifreyans generally, but Time Lords as well.
Mm.
Yes, I watch my Twilight Who reviews. I'm one of the Longbarrow fans. Anyway,
Mm.
we have like 2 hours. Then we're going to see The Purge.
We should eat something before that. Or
Yeah,
in
we
that
should
time
go over to
period.
the bowling alley, get food, hang out in arcades, and then go to see The Purge. We'll also see a vlog for The Purge, possibly with an extra person. It depends if the Avatar of Decent Humor decides to join us or not.
Such a headache.
Bye-bye!
Bye.
Great, now they're gone. Let's talk about how much we hate our fans.
Well, they're all fucking commenters. There's
Look at them! Look at them!
Nobody reads my stuff.
Bitches!
And some of them are so creepy. I mean, some of them talk to me on Skype.
I know, right?
I know. Can you imagine being spoken to on Skype by somebody who's a fan of yours?
Can you imagine having been messaged on YouTube by someone who's a fan of yours who thinks you're attractive, and then talking to them on Skype, and then later on marrying them? What sort of an idiot does that?
Can you imagine talking to?
you.
Can you imagine talking to somebody on Twitter, and then talking to them on Skype, and then them finding out that you're the weirdo who wrote that fanfic, and then them going, "OMG, you're awesome," and then traveling halfway across the world to visit them?
Can you imagine contacting somebody and asking them, "Hey, I'm doing a series of dramatic readings. Can I read that fic you wrote about Hagen?" And then being scared to talk to them for ages because you're actually a big fan of their work, and then being like, "Oh my god, I really like you."
And then hosting me in your house and feeding me all of your delicious, delicious sugar.
Sugar is a euphemism for semen.
No.
No!
That's stew.
But is it stew with 2 O's or with an EW?
Well, that's for the audience to decide. Goodbye.
Motherfucker.